Welcome to The Tea with Martha, where we spill the tea on the untold truths and real struggles of entrepreneurship. I'm Martha Pachow, a fellow business owner who's learned the ins and outs of business the hard way. Get ready for unfiltered discussions on the highs, lows, and messy realities of entrepreneurship. It's time to spill the tea and vent it out with us.
I am so excited for today. One of my favorite people, Tamar, is here with us. Welcome to the tea, Tamar.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So, guys, I just want to tell you, my friend Tamar and I met at Go Abundance. And then, of course, we have a few people in common, as goes this world. But so she wrote this book, The Millionaire's Mentality. I don't know if you could see it. And she is not only a gem as a friend, but such a wealth of knowledge. And if this title doesn't say it all, I don't know what does. So, Tamar, can you tell us a little bit about just your journey? And I'm so excited to dig into Tamar and take it away.
Yeah, so absolutely. I am a fairly common story in terms of being a kid, a little girl that grew up without money and didn't really have a great idea about how to make money or how to live the kind of life that I wanted, or that I saw around me with people that were traveling or people that had nice houses. We lived in a little apartment, and my father was a Holocaust survivor. My mom was an immigrant from Israel, and really had both of them tough childhoods. And so I was really taught how to survive, which ended up serving me pretty well. Survival is good. Survival makes you tough. Survival makes you strong. And yet there was this big barrier in my journey to how to live the kind of life that I wanted to live, and to believe that I could be that person and that I could live that kind of life. And so it was really a series of trial and error and just moving forward. I wasn't someone who was thinking, oh, I'm just going to buy real estate and I'm going to grow wealth through real estate and I'm going to have this happen and I'm going to have that happen. I was a deer in the headlights. And I know that that's fairly common. I hear that with a lot of my clients, sometimes in transition or just stuck after a certain amount of success and trying to figure out what the next steps are. And so those moments of being a deer in a headlight is kind of, it can also be an exhilarating moment, right? Because it's almost like what we were talking about right before I came on, saying, hey, when you're in transition, there is this feeling of a blank slate. It's exciting and it's also nerve-wracking, but we know that's where the juice lies.
Yes. I just want to just pause for a second and really highlight what you just said, where it was, you went from survival to really believing that you could have more, right? That you could live a different way. And I think that's such a powerful thing. As women, often I think we just don't believe in ourselves, or don't believe that we can have that nice house in the neighborhood, a couple neighborhoods next door to us, or just, it seems like that is not for us. And I don't know if that's something that was sold to us back in the day, where it's like, well, that's not for us, that's for them type of mentality. And breaking that barrier is such a big, big deal. And so, just hearing your story and knowing who you are at your core, I think is the biggest game changer, and I just admire and love you. And so I'm just a little biased about that. But tell us a little bit about, spill the tea. Okay, wait. Also, sorry. Can you guys just do you guys look at this beautiful ring? I had to wear it. So Tamar and I went shopping in Sedona when we were at retreat, and she convinced me to buy this beautiful ring. So anyway, sorry. I digress. Tell us a little bit about maybe one of the hardest things that you've gone through in business, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I think that the hardest part of overcoming challenges in business are always at the beginning hurdles before you get to a place where you see some wins. So in other words, when we started out in business, getting to that first 100,000, or maybe getting a job and getting that first 100,000 was like, oh my God, I'm so rich. And granted, I'm a little older than some people. So back in the day when I made 100,000, it was like, wow. And then getting to that first 7-figure mark, or buying the first property, or starting the first business. Those were the hardest challenges for me, where I took the leap, where I had to put money down on a property 25 years ago. And at the time it was $40,000, and it seemed like a lot of money. And now that property is worth almost $2 million. That was just one that I kept. There were many strategies that I could have done in the interim along the way to even make more money on that money. And the point being is that just that first property was really scary, because I was investing a lot. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I could kind of mitigate the risks based on what I knew about real estate, which wasn't that much, but was enough to kind of understand that I could get a tenant to rent the place, understanding that I could lock in a loan for a certain amount of time, those kind of things, which is another reason why I love real estate so much, because there's a little bit more of a mitigated risk factor. But that was really hard starting my businesses. Certainly the one that I have now, Wealth Building Concierge, has been a great challenge, because when you step out in the world and say, I want to help others, I want others to see what I see, and they're where they are and dealing with their lives and their challenges, and you got to rein them in to say, come to me so that I can help you, so that you can grow. And it's not an overnight success story, because anything that we start, it doesn't it's people don't just come and bang down the doors wanting it right away, and a lot of them just don't know who you are. So
Right.
all of that was another really big challenge, just starting something, just stepping out and saying, I'm going to do this, and the amount of commitment and effort that it took to get this going, to write a book, all the things where you have to put yourself out there where people can look at it and see you, and you sometimes get that pang of remembering, wait, I was that little girl that didn't know that I could have these things. Who am I to write a book? And stepping into the space where you want something better for your life, that you want to be a value, that you want to give. So those were a couple of the big challenges. I would say anything that's a big hurdle, and anyone that's listening that is it somewhere in the process of being in that hurdle, which you likely are if you're listening to Martha at all, because she's the queen of mastering walking through the fires. So I would say that you're not alone, that's what it is. That's the work. That's
So
the
good.
progress.
That is so true. Can you tell us a little bit about your businesses and what you do now? I mean, I know, and I guess, it's easy for me to understand what you're talking about, but let us know about what you're up to, and what you've built, and maybe what you've been part of, because I think that it's such a testament to other women when we hear other women who are maybe a few steps ahead of us, and what we can do when, number one, we jump over the hurdles, or goodness gracious, just kick through the hurdle, right? And I know you have such a brilliant mind that every time we talk, I walk away with a nugget, and I just love those type of conversations. So tell us about your businesses.
Yeah, so the main business that I spend most of my time on is Wealth Building Concierge, supporting driven women to get wealthy with real estate investing and wealth strategies. And that really is a labor of love that came to me because I saw how many challenges I had, not only first believing, oh, okay, I can be a person that can have money, to then getting money and realizing I have no idea how to invest money. I have no idea how to make money on my money. I have no idea what to do. And so wanting to share those tools, strategies, and really to scream from the rooftops, which a lot of other people are too, but I think I do it better. No, I think I do it in a way that relates to certain people, and those are the women that come to me, is really to understand that if you buy real estate, you are substantially increasing your opportunities to build generational wealth, to have an income stream that will support you if things don't go well because you have cash flow, to have tax strategy mitigation. And there's just so many opportunities there. Certainly, I still make mistakes. I still lose money. I still have things happen to me that are not great, but I'm in it. And so that's
Well, and I
that that
think that's what makes you amazing, right? You're not someone who's on the sideline telling people what to do. You are in it. You're linking arms. You're saying, "Hey, this is what worked for me. This is what hasn't worked for me." Or like we were just saying, you're like, "I got a guy for you," right? You're a connector.
Mhm.
But what I love is the congruency. Like you're not just talking the talk. You're walking that talk, which is
Yes.
monumental in the world of consulting and guiding and of course coaching and all of that. But that's the thing that I look for when I'm looking for, for mentorship and support is, yeah, but have you done it, or yeah, but have you put
Absolutely.
your own money in it?
Absolutely. And to combine with that, the other piece of Wealth Building Concierge now is we have a partnership with an investing group. And so there's opportunities to invest passively where you don't need to do the work, where you need to just understand the deal and trust the people involved in executing that deal. And you can make upwards 20% annualized, which is a great return, which is more than a lot of people make on a lot of investment properties that they do on their own.
Right.
But certainly, if you're running a business, you don't always have time to manage a portfolio. And so, this is an opportunity to create an additional income stream where I will train you to understand the principles of investing in passive deals and then giving you opportunities to invest alongside the partnership. So that's been another piece of the company, which I love. And then I'm also involved in managing my portfolio and in managing, and that's both deals that I have with partnerships with other people and ones that I have on my own, which is also a project in and of itself.
When you think of your trajectory in the real estate investing world, there's been currently we're living in a shift, right? And there's been other shifts. When you apply your knowledge and more importantly, I would say firsthand experience, how do you navigate nowadays, when you're making decisions, when you're assessing or underwriting deals or maybe guiding other people, like how do you take into consideration all these things? Because one thing I want to talk about is obviously you have a beautiful family, you have two children which are almost, I think your son's almost graduating this year, right?
My
Your
son is going
youngest.
to college in August.
I can't believe it. Oh my gosh, so exciting. And you have such an amazing husband, which I mean, he's just a gem himself and he's awesome to hang out with and he's a good time. And the way that he loves you is just it's awesome to watch. So you have that, right? It's not like, hey, I'm just a shark. I'm a killer. You have this part of you which most people have of, hey, this is the thing that I'm building it for, right? I want to build this generational wealth. When my husband and I decide we want to travel the world or take a year off, right? We want to have that ability to do. Your husband has a great career himself as a TV producer and director. So, he has his own thing going, but there's when you're helping other people, you look at the fact that, hey, I know what you're going through because I have my own family that, rain or shine, I want to show up for them. So how do you use that? How do you use your experience to guide other people?
Yeah, no, that's, I think of everything that we do in life that we want to create, like, certainly there are different buckets, right? There's wealth and freedom, and there's relationship, there's family, and friendships. And I think that part of the way that I have been successful is in navigating relationship and in choosing a great partner to share my life with, so that it supports me and holds me up when it gets harder. And that has been a big part of what has given me the courage to move forward when things get hard. Because let's face it, you're not going to talk to any entrepreneur, any investor, anyone that has any kind of success that doesn't have challenges. So I think that we need to really count our wins in every category. So if you're in a place right now where maybe you're financially really doing great and you don't feel like you have your relationship, lean into the fact that you're so successful in your financial life and think about how you can apply the principles that made you successful into relationship. And it's all about, sacrifice, right? Because if we want to have a lot of successful finance, we have to put money, time and effort into what we want to make success. It's the same with relationship. You have to put the time and effort to find that relationship or to nurture that relationship, to culture that relationship. And so I try to look at those principles and round it about and remind myself that those pieces are all part of me. And I think we all have that. And I think it's so valuable to look at all your pieces and not look at just one area where you might be struggling, because it's easy to do that. It's easy for us to look at where we don't feel that we're doing as well as we want to be doing, or we're not where we envision ourselves. And it helps us have more faith if we're looking at all the pieces and pieces that are working along with the ones that we're challenged by at this time.
Yes. Yeah. So true. We're so multifaceted, right? We often think that, hey, I have to put all my eggs in this, whether it's building a business and then going from building the business and surviving and thriving to then what do I do with the wealth that I've built? And that's a whole other ball game. And while building relationships and keeping the things that matter most first in our life, which is, it's an interesting tango, because often the people we love the most, we either we kind of assume they're going to be there sometimes. And so when it's time to build and that time away and understanding, like, we have to navigate this how do I continue to build these relationships, whether it be friendships, and or our family, while we're building. There's seasons for everything, right? I feel like I've gone through seasons where I'm like, well, I don't really have a social life right now, because any little bit of extra time is going to go to my family, and everything else I'm working. So, but which reminds me, so I pulled out our journal that you gave us at your retreat in Cancun last September and of 23. And the first thing I wrote was you had shared what Les Brown kind of had poured into you. And when I was hearing you just talk, and I looked at the notes, and it said Tamar. And so we went down and we wrote our names, but I wrote your name, and it said T, take charge of your life. A, activate your life. M, master something you love. A, allow your heart and listen to your intuition. And R, relationships matter. And I love that about you, because I do think this is so true. And to your point where you just said, relationships matter. And I think that in this world of go, 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 build, 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 and get, we have to pause and think, what are we doing in all these buckets, and the relationships in our life that we want to build, I don't know. Tell us a little bit about the relationships. I'm sure you've gone through seasons where you're like, okay, I think I've outgrown this circle, or I've do they bring value, or they steal, not stealing, but draining me. Maybe it be whether that be in friendships, whether that be in family members, it could also be, right? How have
Mhm.
you built the relationships that have propelled you to be where you are, but also just kind of elevate yourself as you've elevated your businesses and all the
That's such
things
a
that
good question. And I do think that the way that I've been the most successful is by spending money on high level masterminds and networking events. That's how Martha and I met, and investing in myself in a way where I would say, hey, these are the kind of people I want to be around. And so this is what I'm going to invest in, so I can put myself in a situation where I can meet those people. And then by virtue of association, I feel that those became my circle. And I've just done that over and over to a point where then maybe Martha introduces me to one of her friends, or I introduce her to one of my friends, and the circle becomes more of a level of the partnerships that I want to have. And I think that it's so important to invest in yourself and into believing that you want to be at a certain place, and not being afraid to spend money to do that. I just got a call recently from kind of an acquaintance that had wanted to work with me a couple of years ago, and we had had a couple calls, and then in the end she just didn't do it. And which was fine. I don't really know what it was, but my the reason that she gave at the time, but my impression was that she was hesitant to invest the money with me to get what she wanted. And oddly enough, 3 years later, she called me in a bit of a panic, saying, "Oh, can you talk to me really quickly tomorrow?" And I just thought, well, not really. I mean, I could talk to you next week. I'm pretty busy because I've gone on and evolved and cultivated my relationships, spent the money, done investments, helped a lot of women, and so now I'm in a different place, right? So because at the time where there was an opportunity to jump in, that wasn't maybe the right time for her. But then the point being is that my sense again with this woman was that now she realized, oh, I really feel like I need someone like that in my court, but now she doesn't have a relationship with me really. So I mean, she's calling me like, of course I want to help and support. And there's also this feeling like you're not at the top of the list because we haven't cultivated that relationship. And so that is something that I just really believe strongly in. And if I look at my trajectory of the key people in my life that have made a difference in my life, it's been through groups that I've joined and put myself in situations with. And I'm not talking about spending a dollar. I'm talking about investing, some real money into groups that really make a difference, people that have the relationships, people that have the knowledge, and investing in that so that I could elevate myself into the next level of where I wanted to be.
So good. It's so true. I remember hearing this, I don't remember at what mastermind, but somebody said, I pay for my friends, right? And I know it sounds taboo. Like, what do you mean you pay for your friends? But the idea behind it is what you just said, right? You want to elevate yourself, and sometimes you have to pay to be in rooms with people that, the whole premise of a mastermind is we're all putting our brilliant minds together and experience sharing, and hey, this is work, this is not. But also, I'm such a believer in when you hear other people's stories, and just like, they're just like flesh and blood, like you and me. They're just normal people that have done amazing things when they've linked arms with people that can really pour into them, but also that they can pour into. I think that exchange of value is so important, especially at higher levels, right? I know for me, that's what the thing I love about knowing you and the circles and in GoBundance and in other masterminds that I'm in is just understanding like you might be struggling with one thing and I might know someone or I might have had an experience similar. But if not, like everyone is connecting each other because they all know people that know people and everybody really wants to help. No one is a taker, if you will. For the most part, people are really wanting to champion you and like see you win, right? Because we know we're there. We're there to make things happen. We're not there to just like, just hang out.
The other thing I want to say is if there are listeners that are not at a place where they can make a huge investment to be in a certain kind of room, I would say you can still go to events that don't cost as much.
Yeah.
And meet people. And the point is just to put yourself out there. And
Yeah.
and that's the main thing. And see who and put yourself out there with the idea in mind of who you want to be and what you want to become, and also what value you bring. Because if we're just thinking about what we can get, and not what we can give,
Yeah.
then we sort of start to lose our self, our spirit. So both of those are important, but certainly you don't need to spend $1 million to make friends. And I don't want to leave people with that impression like, oh, great,
Sure.
Tamar's
Yes,
best
that's
advice
really
is to
different.
go dump a bunch of money that I don't have into groups. I would say, if you have it and you're at that place, then consider it, find the right place that will bring you to the next level. And certainly maybe it's not so much just a mastermind per se, but it's one with knowledge. Like if you want financial support, then you would maybe look at something like what I'm doing. If you want to build your business, you might look at what Martha does. And then and if you're not at that place, then certainly just look at events, because there's so many great events. There's great events for real estate. There's great events for businesses. There's all kinds of opportunities where you can get a lot of value and meet a lot of people
So
for
good.
not breaking the bank.
So true. So true. Well, any last kind of shares that you want to give our listeners and just leave us with some thoughts on as you're building either that relationship, your portfolio, maybe your business, maybe, just that we're all at different seasons and levels of growth. Share with us a little bit of just what's on your heart there for our listeners that
Yes,
you would like to
absolutely.
share.
I literally have 2 words for everyone, and it's the key to everything. And I don't know why it's so challenging for us. Love yourself. Just love yourself. Just love yourself. That's it. Because if you can just love yourself and accept yourself, you'll accept others. You'll see opportunities. You'll be in a different mindset and space where you can create, and the things that you want to create will come to you. As soon as I begin to get into judgment or get critical or get down about something that didn't work or get down on myself, all of a sudden it seems like all the doors shut in my face and all I see is darkness. And as soon as I just think, you know what, I'm here for a reason. I'm a human on this planet. I'm a divine creature of the world, of God, of whatever you believe, of spirit. And as soon as I'm in that frame of reference, boy, does the world open up. Boy, does it look shinier outside. Boy, am I happy to just take the next breath. So just please love yourself. That's it. That's the key to everything. It really is the key to everything.
So good. So, so good. Y'all see why I love Tamar? Tamar, it's been so wonderful having you on. Where can our listeners find you?
Yes, they can go to wealthbuildingconcierge.com, CONCIERGE, or Tamar at wealthbuildingconcierge.com. I also have my book. You can go to tamarbook.com easily and get it. And there's lots of free resources on my website and free goodies. And there it is. The Millionaire's Mentality, a professional women's guide to building wealth through real estate.
There she is. Yeah, I mean, I highly recommend these things are are avenues to teaching ourselves, right? While we either get into rooms and or evolve mentally to see ourselves, to your point, your earlier point of believing in ourselves and believing in the ability that has been placed on us. And it really is all about loving ourselves and evolving from there. Tamar, thank you so much. I will make sure we link all your contact and websites. It's been wonderful. I love spilling the tea with you and just knowing you. Thank you for being you and putting such goodness out in the world. It's awesome to know you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on another episode. If you enjoyed today's tea, make sure to follow, rate, and leave a review. Stay connected with us on social media at The Tea with Martha for updates and behind-the-scenes moments. Remember, every woman's story is a sip of inspiration, and together we're brewing success. This is Martha signing off. Cheers!